Get your hands off me. Call my dad. He is the senator. You are all finished.
That's outrageous. Outrageous is outrageous. Your motivation is outrageous.
Let me tell you something about entitlement. I have seen it in every corner of my courtroom for over 20 years, but I have never seen entitlement like the young man who walked in that day. His name is Preston. He is 26 years old. His father is a United States Senator, a powerful man with a famous name who is currently running for re-election, a man who thinks his family is above the law. The senator's son walked into my courtroom like he was walking onto a private jet. His suit was custom-made, his shoes were hand-stitched, his watch was a Rolex worth more than most people's houses. He looked at my courtroom like it was an inconvenience. Behind him walked 3 lawyers in expensive suits carrying leather briefcases. They sat down at the defense table like they were guarding a prince. On the other side of the courtroom sat the plaintiff, a woman named Nora. She is 45 years old, a school teacher. She teaches 3rd grade and has been teaching for 20 years. The school teacher showed up in a simple blouse and skirt. She had no lawyers, just a folder filled with medical reports and the exhausted look of someone who has been fighting alone. I looked at the senator's son, then I looked at the school teacher, and right there I knew exactly what kind of day this was going to be. Let me tell you what this case was about. The school teacher was suing the young man for $50,000. 1 year ago, he was driving his Porsche drunk, speeding, running stop signs. He crashed into the teacher's car at an intersection. Her car was destroyed. She broke her leg in 3 places. She needed 2 surgeries. She spent 6 months learning to walk again. The senator's son refused to pay the medical bills, not because he did not have the money. His father is a senator with millions, not because the accident was not his fault. The police report clearly states he was drunk. He refused to pay because he said the teacher should have gotten out of his way. That is right. A senator's son crashed into a school teacher while drunk and said it was her fault. His reason? Her car was too slow. So there I was sitting on my bench looking at this young man in his custom suit. I said, "Mr. Preston, can you explain to me why you refused to pay?" The senator's son leaned back in his chair. He crossed his legs. He smiled. "Your Honor," he said, his voice dripping with arrogance, "the accident was not my fault. The police report says you were drunk," I said. "The police report is a piece of paper," he said. "The police report is evidence," I said. He shrugged. "I do not care about evidence." I blinked. "You do not care about evidence?" "No," he said. "I have money. I have power. I have a famous father. Evidence is for poor people." The courtroom went silent. I leaned forward. "Mr. Preston, let me tell you something." He raised his eyebrows. "In my courtroom, everyone cares about evidence, rich and poor, powerful and weak." He laughed. "You think your little courtroom scares me?" I did not answer. "My father owns senators," he said. "My father owns judges. My father owns people like you." I sat back in my chair. "Mr. Preston, your father does not own me." He stood up. "You are nobody," he said. His voice was loud and angry. "You are a TV judge. You are entertainment. You are not real." The bailiff moved forward. I held up my hand. "Let him speak." He stepped closer to my bench. "Do you know who I am?" he said. I looked at him. "I know exactly who you are, Mr. Preston." He smirked. "You are someone who is about to be held in contempt of court." His smirk disappeared. "What?" I said. "You have broken 3 courtroom rules." He shook his head. "No, I have not." "Rule number 1, I said, no standing and shouting at the judge." He did not sit down. "Rule number 2, no interrupting the court." He opened his mouth and I cut him off. "Rule number 3, and this one is going to cost you." He stared at me. "No throwing objects in my courtroom." "What are you talking about?" he said. Then he did something I have never experienced in 20 years on the bench. He took off his Rolex. He held it in his hand. He looked at me and he threw it at my head. The watch flew across the courtroom. It missed my face by inches. It crashed against the wall behind me. The courtroom was dead silent. The bailiff grabbed him. I looked at the senator's son, and I said 7 words that destroyed his father's election campaign. You want to know what I said? But that was not the worst part, not even close. The young man was in the bailiff's grip. His face was red. His custom suit was wrinkled. His perfect hair was falling out of place. "Mr. Preston," I said, "you just made the biggest mistake of your life." He laughed. "You think I care?" I smiled. Then I said 7 words. "Your father's campaign is about to end." His face went white. "What did you say?" he whispered. I said, "Your father's Senate campaign is about to end." He shook his head. "No, yes." He tried to pull away from the bailiff. "The video of you throwing that watch is already online," I said. "No, yes. It is going viral right now." He started crying. "Millions of people are watching you lose control." "No," he screamed. "Yes, and your father's donors are pulling their support." He stopped fighting. His father's campaign manager just called. The bailiff handed me his phone. I read the message out loud. "Preston's father is dropping out of the race." The courtroom gasped. The senator's son fell to his knees. "You destroyed my father," he whispered. I looked at him. "No, Mr. Preston, you destroyed your father. But that was not the worst part, not even close, because what happened next made even my bailiff gasp. I turned to the school teacher. "Mrs. Nora, I am awarding you $50,000 for your medical bills, plus $25,000 for your pain and suffering, plus court costs." The senator's son looked up. "That is $75,000. You can do math," I said. "Congratulations, but that is not all." I turned to him. "Mr. Preston, you are also facing charges for assault and battery." His lawyer stood up. "Your Honor, my client is willing to settle." "It is too late for that," I said. The doors opened. Two police officers walked in. The young man screamed. The officers handcuffed him. As they led him toward the door, I said, "Wait." They stopped. I looked at him. "Mr. Preston, do you have anything to say?" He looked at me. His eyes were filled with tears. "My father will fix this," he said. His voice was shaking. "My father will make this go away." I smiled. "Your father cannot even fix his own campaign. Your father is flying home right now to resign." The officers led him away. The doors closed. The courtroom was silent. I looked at the school teacher. "Mrs. Nora, you are free to go." She stood up. "Thank you, Your Honor." She walked toward the door. Then she stopped. "Your Honor," she said, "how did you know about his father's campaign?" I smiled. "I read the news, Mrs. Nora." She left. The courtroom was empty. I turned to the camera, and that is the truth about power. It does not protect you from the truth. The senator's son thought he was untouchable. He was wrong, but that was not the worst part, not even close, because what happened next even I did not see coming. The doors opened. A man walked in, a man in a dark suit. He was tall. His face was serious. "Your Honor," he said, "my name is Agent Peterson. I am with the FBI." I said, "Agent Peterson, what can I do for you?" He walked to my bench. "We have been investigating Preston's father for 2 years," he said. "Corruption, bribery, campaign finance violations." I nodded. The agent continued. "The son was involved. He helped his father hide illegal campaign donations. He helped his father launder money. He helped his father lie to the FEC. He handed me a folder. This is the evidence." I opened the folder. Bank records, wire transfers, emails, text messages. The son's name was on all of them. I looked up at the agent. "The young man is not just going to jail for assault?" "No, Your Honor," he said. "He is going to jail for conspiracy to commit campaign fraud." I closed the folder. "Good." The agent left. The courtroom was silent again. I looked at the school teacher. She had come back and, "Mrs. Nora," I said, "I thought you left." She walked to the plaintiff's table. "I could not leave without saying something, Your Honor." I nodded. "Go ahead." She took a deep breath. "I have been thinking about what you said about forgiveness." I nodded. "I do not forgive him," she said. "Not yet, maybe not ever. But—" She looked at the door where the senator's son had been led away. "But I am not going to let him destroy me. I am not going to let him make me bitter. I am not going to let him steal my joy." She looked at me. "He already took 1 year of my life. I will not give him 1 more day." I smiled. "Mrs. Nora, you are a remarkable woman." She smiled back. "Thank you, Your Honor." She reached into her bag. "I brought you something," she said. "What is it?" She handed me a small box. "Open it." I opened the box. Inside was a pin, a small apple-shaped pin. "This was my mother's," she said. "She was a teacher, too. She taught for 35 years. She looked at me. She always said teachers change the world one child at a time." I smiled. "Your mother was wise." She nodded. "She died last year." "I am sorry." She nodded. "Thank you." She looked at the pin. "I want you to have it. I cannot accept this." "You can," she said. "You reminded me today that teachers matter." She smiled. "And you, Judge Judy. You teach millions of people every day." She turned and walked out. I held the pin in my hand. I looked at the camera. The school teacher had nothing, and she gave me her mother's pin, because I told the truth. The bailiff wiped his eyes. "Are you crying?" I asked. "No, Your Honor," he said. "It is dusty in here." I smiled, but that was not the worst part, not even close. The courtroom was quiet. I sat on my bench looking at the apple pin the school teacher had given me, a simple pin from a woman who taught children for 35 years. Her mother understood something that the senator's son never understood. Teachers change the world. Money does not. Power does not. A famous father does not. The doors opened. The school teacher walked back in. "Mrs. Nora," I said, "I thought you left." She walked to my bench. "I could not leave without saying something else, Your Honor." I nodded. "Go ahead." She took a deep breath. "I have been thinking about him," she said. "About the senator's son." I nodded. "I feel sorry for him." I raised an eyebrow. "Sorry?" "Yes," she said. "He has everything, money, power, a famous father." She looked at me, "And he has nothing." I nodded. "He has no respect. He has no humility. He has no peace." She looked at the door. "I have my students. I have my mother's memory. I have my health." She smiled. "I am richer than he will ever be." I smiled. You are richer than most senators. She laughed. Thank you, Your Honor. She left. The courtroom was empty again. I turned to the camera, and that is the truth about wealth. The senator's son had millions of dollars, and he was poor. The school teacher had nothing, and she was rich. The bailiff handed me a folder. Your Honor, he said, this just arrived from the district attorney. I opened the folder. Inside was a letter from the senator's son. Dear Judge Judy, I am writing this letter from jail. I am sorry. I am sorry for throwing my watch at you. I am sorry for humiliating you. I am sorry for lying. My father is in prison. My money is gone. My friends have abandoned me. I have nothing except the truth. And the truth is I was wrong about everything. Money does not make you a good person. Power does not make you a good person. A famous father does not make you a good person. I am sorry. Sincerely, Preston. I put the letter down. I looked at the camera. The senator's son learned his lesson, but it cost him everything. But that was not the worst part, not even close, because what happened next even I did not see coming. The courtroom was quiet. I sat on my bench thinking about the senator's son, thinking about his father, thinking about the school teacher. The young man had everything: money, power, a famous father, a Rolex watch, and he lost it all because he threw that watch at my head. The school teacher had nothing: no money, no power, no famous father, no Rolex, and she won because she had the truth. The doors opened. A woman walked in, a woman I had never seen before. Your Honor, she said, my name is Carol. I said, Miss Carol, what can I do for you? She walked to my bench. I am Preston's nanny. The courtroom went silent. I leaned back in my chair. Why are you here? She took a deep breath. I raised him, she said. I watched him grow up. I watched him become cruel. I watched him become entitled. She started crying, and I did nothing. I said, it is not too late. She looked at me. Go to him in jail, I said. Tell him you love him. Tell him you forgive him. Tell him he can change. She nodded. Thank you, Your Honor. She left. The courtroom was silent again. I turned to the camera, and that is the truth about family. The nanny watched him destroy himself, and she did nothing. But today she finally did something. She spoke the truth. The doors opened again. The school teacher walked back in. Mrs. Nora, I said, I thought you left. She walked to my bench. I forgot something, Your Honor. What is that? She handed me a photograph. It was a picture of her third-grade class, 25 little faces smiling. This is why I kept fighting, she said, for them. She looked at the photograph. I want them to know that you never give up. You never back down. You never let anyone humiliate you. She looked at me. Thank you for teaching me that. She left. The courtroom was empty again. I held the photograph in my hand. I looked at the camera. A school teacher, a woman with nothing. And she taught me something too, that courage is not about money. Courage is about showing up, even when you are scared, even when you are alone, even when you are fighting a senator's son. But that was not the worst part, not even close, because what happened next even I did not see coming. The courtroom was quiet. I sat on my bench looking at the photograph of the third-grade class, 25 children who did not know that their teacher had just saved her own life, because that is what the school teacher did. She saved her life, not with money, not with power, not with a famous father, with courage. The doors opened. A man walked in, a man in a suit I had never seen him before. Your Honor, he said, my name is Special Agent Walsh. I am with the FEC. I said, Agent Walsh, what can I do for you? He walked to my bench. We have finished our investigation into Preston's father, he said. I nodded. He is looking at 10 years in federal prison. I nodded. And his son? He is looking at 3 years. I nodded. The agent continued. There is something else, Your Honor. What is that? He handed me a check. What is this? I asked. It is restitution for the school teacher, from the father's seized assets. I looked at the check. It was for $150,000. I looked up at the agent. This is 3 times what she asked for. He nodded. The court approved it. I smiled. Good. The agent left. The courtroom was empty again. I looked at the check in my hand. $150,000. Enough to pay for the teacher's medical bills. Enough to fund her classroom for years. Enough to give her a new life. The doors opened. The school teacher walked back in. Mrs. Nora, I said, I thought you left. She walked to my bench. I could not leave without saying one more thing, Your Honor. I nodded. Go ahead. She took a deep breath. I have been thinking about what you said, about the truth. I nodded. The truth saved my life, she said. She looked at me, and you, Judge Judy, you are the truth. She smiled. Thank you. She left. The courtroom was empty. I held the check in one hand and her mother's Apple pin in the other. I looked at the camera, and that is the final proof. The senator's son thought he could throw his Rolex at me and get away with it. He was wrong. His life fell apart. His father's campaign was destroyed. Not because I am powerful, because the truth is powerful, but there was one more thing, a final twist that even I did not see coming. I picked up my gavel, but I did not bring it down. Not yet, because I wanted everyone watching to understand exactly what happened here today. A senator's son walked into my courtroom wearing a custom suit and a Rolex watch. He thought he could bully me. He thought he could mock me. He thought he could intimidate me, and then he took off his Rolex and threw it at my head. It missed me by inches, but it hit the wall behind me, and that sound, that crash, that moment of pure arrogance, it destroyed his father's election campaign. Within hours, the video went viral. Millions of views, thousands of comments. His father's donors pulled their support. His father's staff resigned. His father's career ended. All because a spoiled rich kid could not control his temper. I looked at the camera. Let me tell you what happened to them. The senator's son was convicted of assault, battery, and campaign fraud. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. His father was convicted of corruption and bribery. He was sentenced to 10 years. Their family name is destroyed. Their reputation is gone. Their political dynasty is over. He has nothing now, no father, no money, no Rolex, no future, just a jail cell and the memory of the day he threw his watch at Judge Judy. The school teacher used the $150,000 to pay off her medical bills. She bought new books for her classroom. She started a scholarship fund for her students. She still teaches 3rd grade. She still wears simple clothes. And every morning before school, she looks at her mother's apple pin on my robe and smiles because she knows the truth. Shocking twist. 1 year after this case, the senator's son wrote the school teacher another letter. Dear Nora, I am not going to ask you to forgive me. I do not deserve it. But I want you to know that you changed my life. When I crashed into your car, I thought I was powerful, but I was pathetic. You had nothing, and you fought me. I had everything, and I lost. You are a better person than I will ever be. I am sorry for what I did to you. I am sorry for throwing my watch at Judge Judy. I am sorry for destroying my father's career. I am sorry for everything. Sincerely, Preston. The school teacher did not write back, but she kept the letter. She says it reminds her that even the worst people can feel shame. Moral lesson. Here is what I want you to remember. Money does not make you a good person. Power does not make you a good person. A famous father does not make you a good person. What makes you a good person is how you treat people who have less than you. The senator's son had everything: money, power, a famous father, a Rolex watch, and he lost it all because he threw that watch at my head. The school teacher had nothing: no money, no power, no famous father, no Rolex, and she won everything because she never stopped believing that the truth matters. The truth always matters, and karma is real. Call to action. If you made it to the end of this story, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who thinks they can throw things at judges and get away with it. Because in my courtroom, you do not get away with anything. I am Judge Judy, and this case is closed.